기자부대, hop on the beat!
Welcome back to another JoJo chapter review. This time we're taking a look at chapter 21 of the JOJOLands titled Howler Company Impropriety Suspicions. In the last chapter, Jodio defeated the Howler assassin Bobby Jean, and the gang took Lulu with them while starting a new plan to collect Howler's debt to the bank. This month we get dropped directly into their new scheme, with Charming Man posing as the injured bank employee. We get a pretty funny scene here of Charming Man trying to blend in during a conversation with his wife, before he goes to meet up with the others in the lobby. We learn that he's blending in well and has gotten orders from his superior to collect Howler's debt, and that by changing the security codes, Howler's assets will be deposited directly into their own bank account. Back at Meryl May's boutique, we see that they're keeping Lulu there as a hostage. Funnily enough, Meryl May starts complaining about Lulu's expensive tastes and how much money she has to spend to keep the boutique closed to hide her. She asks if anyone else has knowledge of the gang's faces, and Lulu says that with Bobby Jean's death, she's the only one that knows. Lulu also confirms that Acce Howler is the one who asked her to search for the lava rock. Meryl May says that this confirms that Howler's assets are being manipulated by the rock. With Acce knowing that his fortune is going to disappear, his main priority now is finding out who it's moving towards. As Meryl May points out, when a rich person is cornered, they'll very easily resort to violence to get what they want. With that in mind, she says that the time they have left to retrieve the assets is 7 days. We cut back to Acce Howler, who is traveling in his limousine when he's stopped by a swarm of protesters. Outside we see that he's being attacked for his illegal activities related to the land rights. Acce starts picking fights with the crowd, but is quickly shuffled off by a lawyer. Once inside, Acce comments on his lineage, saying that he is the 8th generation of the Howler family. Apparently, each of his ancestors' first names started with a different letter, starting with A until now where his name is the Italian pronunciation of the letter H. He says that the land was rightfully given to the Howlers by the Hawaiian royal family. Nearby, 3 new characters appear, saying they want to keep Howler from going bankrupt. Acce doesn't recognize them and asks if he hired them. They introduce themselves as the lawyer from earlier, Key West, the police officer Lam Chabang, and the firefighter Ningbo. They claim to be friends of the now dead Bobby Jean and suspect the stand user was behind his death. Acce tells them that they need to find Lulu and that their job is to protect Howler's interests. Acce notices clumps of worm-like creatures inside Lam Chabang's glasses. Key West says that they are pet nematodes which are able to sense the stress of living creatures and create a map leading to people who are afraid. She warns Acce that as the final boss, he should stop being afraid since they're going to protect him. Before they leave, Key West shares one more detail, that they were able to recover the last search from Bobby Jean's phone before he died, revealing that they know about Paco and his military history. This was yet another phenomenal chapter. After the defeat of Bobby Jean, we're moving straight into a new arc, and we've already been introduced to a ton of new information. First of all, we're starting to understand how the gang's plan is shaping up, with Charming Man planning to pose as the bank employee to collect the money. Obviously, the biggest thing to come from this chapter, though, is the introduction of our 3 new possible stand user characters, Key West, Lam Chabang, and Ningbo. If you notice, all 3 of them are named after port cities from around the world, like Key West, Florida, Lam Chabang in Thailand, and Ningbo, China. First of all, I love these 3 weirdo designs, and I'm glad that Araki just went completely out there with Lam Chabang and her glasses full of nematodes. Funnily enough, we actually don't even know for sure yet if this is a stand ability or if they're just her pets or something. What I found most interesting was the portrayal of Acce in this chapter. While he's first introduced to us as an ultra-wealthy CEO, we've learned more and more that he's actually pretty incompetent. For one, we've already seen him bungle his own plan by telling Lulu to find the lava rock, which indirectly led to Bobby Jean's death. Here he seems even more clueless, where he doesn't even recognize these 3 people who are supposed to be his employees, and is even shown to be afraid of them. This interaction actually tells us a lot about Acce. Keep in mind that the Howler family has acquired wealth for generations, and someone like Acce has had everything handed to him. Despite that, he takes an intense pride in what he sees as his birthright and lashes out against anyone in his way. This chapter calls to attention Acce's name, saying that there was a kind of naming tradition in the Howler family, each one starting with a different letter. But since it's the Italian alphabet and he's H, he uses a different pronunciation. I can sort of see this as being symbolic of the tradition of the Howler family losing its meaning over time, where Acce no longer has any claim to Howler's supposedly legitimate claims from the royal family. For any of my Part 5 fans out there, we also know that there is no J in the Italian alphabet, so I have to wonder if Jodio is going to have some kind of symbolic role in this as well. We do know that Acce is a stand user, but clearly he can't have some kind of overpowered ability or he wouldn't be so scared of his own minions here. It may be the case that Acce doesn't even comprehend what kind of power he has since he's never had to use it. It's also possible that this ability was transferred down to Acce through his family, which I think would be really fitting for his kind of nepo baby character. Really, I see two ways that this can go. Either Acce is going to shape up like Key West advises him to and becomes a more intimidating main villain, or he could continue down the path he's on now, which could give rise to some bigger villain behind him. I think they're saying a lot of interesting things with Acce, so either way I'm excited to see how he turns out. Something else interesting that came with this chapter and with the new Volume 5 were some retcons and changes. One of these comes with the bank employee whose name has been changed from Mac to Yokohama. When his new name popped up in this chapter, I assumed it was just his last name, but if we look at the volume, all the previous uses of his name have been changed as well. I'm not sure why they would change such a thing, but I guess it was done to fit in with the naming scheme of the new characters who are also named after cities. Another change is that originally Acce was said to be the 6th generation of the family, but it's been changed to the 8th to match with the new alphabet thing they brought up here. And finally, the amount of Acce's loan was changed from 38 billion to 30 billion. In other JoJo news, this month also gave us the 4th issue of the JoJo magazine. This contains the usual extra JoJo stuff along with 3 new stories. First is a short story titled My Prized Hook and Line about Pesci and Prosciutto. Then 2 new manga one-shots. The first is Cool Shock Guy BT, another follow-up to one of Araki's older manga, and Toshikazu Hazamada's Questionable Adventure, a comedic story about Hazamada from Part 4. I just got over being too sick to record, but now that I'm back I'll be starting work on covering those, as well as everything else in the magazine and some upcoming videos. So make sure to keep an eye out for those if you're interested. We've also gotten news of a new JoJo anime event called JoJo Day, set on April 12th of next year. Not a lot is known about it yet, but it notably was said to connect the past and future of the JoJo anime series. So I think it's all but confirmed that this is where we'll see the confirmation of the Steel Ball Run anime adaptation. Obviously this is huge news, and when it's revealed I'll no doubt be making a video covering it. If you want to keep up with future videos and announcements, make sure to subscribe and click the bell. You can also join the Hum and Beat Discord to get notified on new uploads, chapter releases, and any other important JoJo news. Finally, I'd appreciate if you help support the channel on Patreon or by becoming a YouTube member. Supporters get their name featured at the end of the video and can submit viewer questions which I answer at the end of my main videos. You can submit those questions in the Patreon community chat or by leaving them as a comment under the members only community post. If you join, feel free to submit as many as you like since they're all likely to be answered. Thank you for watching. This is the part of the video where I thank my $5 and up patrons. Thank you to Sloth Dog, Doorbell, Crayon, Rigovids, Zucato, Pumpkin Doge, Marrow, Gatlin Grove, Sponge Cake, Cakext, Feliciana Rabaja, Rayana Meme, Christian McDonough, Emmanuel Etienne, Pulse Dog, Zach Greenfield, FIFO, Rob Goliath, Jacob Smith, Big T, Sea Manga, Minty, Gold, Red Hot Mayonnaise, Jolene, Monticelli, Zenkai, Royal Slush, Keenan, Perry, Noland, John Braun, Cho Henshin, Saint Bobo, Max Verstappen, Kira Not Yoshikage, John Garcia, Love Second, Allegor, Onyx, and Crank and Plank.